Test. Let's see. Hey, Tom here, Flip Anything USA. So the economy is crashing, and the interest rate is going ever higher. And I'm getting a lot of calls. People ask me, hey, do you think this is going to be like the 2009 recession? Nobody's really asked me about, is it going to be like the 1980s recession when I started? But really, it's not going to be like either one of them. And I'll tell you why. And if you just got here, I share how I made my fortune in real estate. I continue to buy property. Just closed one today, by the way. Call it the Red Rum Murder House. I may give you guys a little sample of that. I think I did already yesterday, maybe not. But this is really an exciting time. But listen, if you're not an experienced investor, just sit still. Hang on to your money. Don't give it to some phony baloney guru. Don't go get caught in some investment scheme. People don't have experience investing in times like this because they're so rare. It's so rare that you're having a recession and a declining market and rising interest rates. That's what's really different about right now and 2009. In 2009, the interest rates dropped, and we were going into a recession, right? Because the banking bailouts and the other crises. But this is different. This is different. And I'm going to be right back with you, and I'm going to explain why.
Stop and listen. Time is on a mission to eliminate all the snake oil and the fake gurus that fake y'all. He'll show you how to build an empire, starting with nothing but a desire. All you really need is a good mentor, not a used car bullshit. With time, you'll learn to crush it. Investing like Warren Buffett. With real estate, you cannot procrastinate. Everyone who hesitates is left at the starting gate. Hey, yo, so don't delay and join today. The mentorship and flip anything. USA, go.
All right. So the key difference is that, I mean, really, we shouldn't even really be in a recession right now. We caused it. I mean, when I say we, the United States caused it. I mean, for ourselves mostly. All the stimulus, the over politicization of the pandemic. All those things just made a mess of things. It's all the money. That's what really caused the inflation was all this money pumped into the economy that really didn't need to be pumped in there. They gave people money whether they needed it or not. People that were affected, people that were hurt. Like I say, the idea of giving everybody money just because you gave somebody else money, somebody loses a job, they need money. Well, they said, well, let's just give it to everybody. And, it's a way to win votes. It's a way to distract people, but it really has ruined the country in a big way for a while. But we're going to make a lot of money. We're going to make a lot of money from it. And that's the good news is that we can prosper. But if you are new to real estate, haven't invested very much, this is the time to just sit still and watch. Somebody texted me a little while ago. I got a lot of students now, and, they're concerned, and they should be. I did an interview with Chris. He jumped in my car today, and we drove around, looked at some of my stuff, and he was explaining he's got a predicament. He just closed a big deal. He's got, $500,000 in the bank, and he doesn't have much time to take advantage of the tax deferring. Anyways, it's a fantastic opportunities are coming. They're not here yet. And the last person I talked to, what I told him is, look at it like the house is burning, right? Let's say you've got a property you want to buy and it's on fire. Because that's kind of where everything is right now. Everything's kind of on fire right now. Well, you hear the sirens coming, but you're not quite sure when the truck's going to get here. It doesn't really make sense to bid on a house that's on fire because you're kind of speculating as to how much damage is going to be there by the time the fire department gets there and puts it out. So it's better to just sit still and see if it doesn't burn all the way to the ground, or maybe just the garage burns up, and then you can better, estimate what you got there. That's really the best way I can put it, because that is what's going on right now. Things are on fire. Things have plateaued. Somebody wanted into the mentorship. Took the mentorship evaluation, which be sure to take the mentorship evaluation. Whether you got the money or not right now, and I don't want anybody that's spent their last couple grand getting in the mentorship. You got to have some money to invest. But I'll certainly give you my best tips that I can tell you what to do, whether you have money or not. I don't care. But hey, if you don't have my book, get my book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. This is peanuts. It costs you $10. You could be listening to it or reading it on Kindle in just a few minutes. And you get it on paperback. But that's an important one. Also, if you just got here, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I've been doing this for over 40 years, made tens of millions of dollars, and there's just not a better lifestyle out there. But these are really unsure times, so I don't want anybody making the mistake of jumping in and burning your seed capital and getting turned upside down. And I call it the tail wagging the dog. When the circumstances are throwing you around, you're chasing money, you're working your ass off to make pay for things that that maybe you shouldn't have got into. Everybody knows that in my class, one of the things I always say is easy to do, hard to undo. This is really a volatile time where it's easy to do something and very hard to undo. But where I was going with this other thing is loan officers are getting laid off right and left. They're definitely not hiring them right now. Loans are harder to come by. There's some areas that are doing particularly well still. I'm in one of those areas, but I know that my area is not typical and don't think yours is. You really got to watch it closely. So in 2009, interest rates were dropping like a rock. They were trying to counter the economy, to spur the economy. Well, they're doing just the opposite. We're going into a recession, and they're raising it. So they're making it harder and tougher. Now, I'm not saying they should have raised the rates a long time ago. It's something that does need to be done. But people that pulled investors into to make purchases of apartment buildings, there's a lot of young gurus that just started doing this stuff. I feel sorry for them because they made a big mistake because the assets that they've bought are highly volatile. And let me explain. When I see times like this, I'm sitting fat. I'm 100% occupied. 100%. I have one little rental that is empty right now. Just one little thing that I got about $1,800 a month on. That's the only thing I got that's vacant right now. And the only reason it's vacant is because I can't get a decent air conditioner. I can't buy the air conditioner to replace it. They're running 18 weeks out. I'll figure out something. But so what am I doing? I'm maximizing all the value out of my own investments. In other words, I'm just taking care of everything. I'm cleaning up. I'm painting the curbs. We're scraping the windows. We're doing the weather strip. Stuff that's maybe all the deferred maintenance I'm taking care of. Now, I'm not going crazy on it. And listen, I'll tell you too, if you got, if you got $100,000 or a couple $100,000 in the bank and, maybe you're only worth $1 million or $2 or maybe less, and I don't mean to minimize it one way or another, but better to hang on to the cash. Look, a roof, in uncertain times like this, better to hang on to that cash and just spend $5,000 a year patching the roof. If the roof starts to leak, have somebody go up there and patch it. They can patch a very rough roof. You can have a roof that's long overdue to be replaced, and you can just spend $5,000 or $10,000 a year and patch a 20,000 square foot roof, and you can just limp it along, but keep your cash reserves high because the cash ain't trash, folks. Cash you can just make a fortune with, at the right time. But you gotta be liquid, and when you are liquid and you do run things right, I just got a phone with my banker a little bit ago. I was wanting him to utilize an appraisal on a property that I have that's about a year old. He says, Tom, I can't use it probably, but we can certainly, if he's in my pool of appraisers, we'll, and it turns out it was. And so now it's not going to cost me as much to get an appraisal. I got approved on over the phone because it's somebody that knows me. And that's where you can be someday, is where you can get somebody to lock you in a rate without even you having to sign in or write for it. In other words, it's a wonderful place to be, and that's why I love this business so much. Real estate, there's nothing that'll make you richer, quicker, and more steadier. It's very stable wealth, too. It's very, very stable. But talking about what I'm doing right now, I'm trying to get, I got all my leases tied up, getting everybody, locked in for the next 3 to 5 years. Now, there's no guarantee that leases aren't necessarily for the landlord and they're not necessarily for the tenant. They're for both to a degree, but, you can't squeeze, blood out of a turnip. If somebody's going up, belly up, you're not going to get that money again. You just got to, you let them out and get somebody else in there. But it's nice for everybody to have a plan. and like, okay, good. I know I can be here for the next 3 years. I know I can be here for the next 5 years. It gives them. It's like stock. When a person gets into a lease, you really consider it like a stock. They're buying stock. They're saying, I am buying this at this rate. I am locking myself into paying you this much for this many years. Just like you would buy a stock. You're locking it in the price that you're buying it for, and you're hoping that the values go up, and you get to keep paying, and you make the benefit of that, right? Well, a lease works that way. You get it locked in at this rate, and you're anticipating that the value of that lease is going to go up. It's going to get more expensive to rent the same space, but you're locked in, and that's a good investment for you because you're making the delta of what you'd have to pay if you just, rented yearly and got renewed every year. Well, so it gives both of us comfort to lock it in. And I'm somebody that I always keep everybody under market because I always like to be competitive with everyone. In other words, if the market does start to fall down, it may not even fall down to the rate that I'm charging because, but that's the benefit I have because I have high equity, in my properties. But what are you guys worried about? I'm looking over here at the chat. Maybe disabled. Somebody write something in there, I guess, if you got something you want to talk about. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Anybody got any questions? Anybody just ask away if there's something you're concerned about or what you're worried about. When it comes to, again, when times are uncertain like this, I call it dressing for the crash. I've talked about this before, dressing for the crash. Well, the best way to dress for the crash when you own a lot of property is, again, tie up the leases, get everything done, fix up the properties, make them worth more. Do all these things you can do to make it better without spending a lot of money. Believe me, I have a roof I could replace, and I could spend my money on roofing. I could probably spend $2 or $3 million on roofs right now. But I would much rather spend $70,000, $80,000 a year patching those roofs than to replace them because I want that cash. I want that money to be around. And even though the bank, approves me for a loan over the phone and I've got that kind of rapport and credibility, I know that can disappear. It really can. Banks get scared. In 2009, let me tell you, banks were a little more casual about loaning money. And I had just borrowed $3 million from Wachovia, who's out of business. And what I saw the banks do, and this is kind of funny, the bankers were coming back, and I felt the downturn. I felt it in many different ways. And because here's what's going to happen. Even though I'm sitting fat and pretty and everything's great for me, and my tenants, I realize that my tenants may be the weak link in my whole thing. They can start to break down. They can have failed businesses. They can go belly up. And then I got to fill that hole when they kick off, and then I have to, put somebody else in their space. And that's one of the reasons it's in my interest for them to survive. So I don't gouge them, I keep them a little bit under market because I want them to survive. I don't want to have to look for another tenant. I don't want to deal with that kind of that loss. But so that's me dressing for the crash, keeping the properties perfect, fixing them up, keeping them nice, building rapport. Also, look, I know all my tenants, but you get even a little closer. Make sure that everybody's happy. Make sure everybody's happy. Go out of your way. In fact, I'm actually, what I do sometimes is it keeps my guys busy because I have a crew of people that work for me, and I'll say, hey, you know what? I'll call so-and-so, hey, do you need any ceiling tiles replaced? Anything you need worked? Is there any paint, that needs to be done? And my guys go over and they'll paint a couple bathrooms, replace ceiling tiles that, start to get yellow, or maybe there's water damage or something. That stuff sneaks up on you here and there. And I have my guys go in there and I let the tenants know, hey, you're important to me. Let me fix it up. What can I do? And I do things for them. Same thing. In fact, I just, I had this couple, Bud and Mary, really nice folks. I've known them for over 20 years. Very old, frail people in their 80s. And I would always check on them in tough times. We had a freeze here. And sure enough, they would always call me when they need something. I'd have my plumbers go over and fix things for them. Sometimes I'd pick it up. Other times I just, I'd let them pay me when they had time. And I did this for a long time, but they were my neighbors. And they had my back. When there's things I wanted to do, they were on my side of the HOA. They helped me oppose the HOA and win certain battles that I wanted to win. But it's that network and keeping people close and helping people that are near you that can actually help you too. But anyhow, the reason I say this is I was worried about him again a little bit, and I stopped in. I saw somebody in the front yard, and I said, "Hey, how's Mary?" I knew she had fallen, and woman almost started crying. It was her parents, and she said they're both dead. She said Mary had passed, and on the she said Mary had passed on the 22nd, and her dad passed on the following month on the 16th. So, and that happens, people. It's really interesting how people live together for all these years, and then when one dies, the other one, sometimes dies within a month or 2 or 6 of each other. So, but anyhow, they were nice people, good people, and I'll tell you something interesting about Bud. Bud told me he was unable to walk in the last 12 years, and I said, "Man, what happened?" He goes, "Well, it's neuropathy." He goes, "I think I ruined my feet when I was a kid." And I said, "Well, how so?" And he said, "Well," he goes, "when I was a kid, on the way home, I'd go by the shoe store, and they had this new marketing thing, and it was where you could walk up, and this was, I think, Scholl, what's it, the Scholl's, foot, the foot guys, they have foot powder, they have, cushions, anyhow." He said he'd go in there, and they had this machine where you could stick your feet in, look down at a screen, and push the button, and it would trigger the X-ray, and it would X-ray your feet, and you could see the bones in your feet. And he would stop by and do it almost every day like it was a video game. And he suspects that's what destroyed his feet now when he was in his 80s. So I thought that was just kind of an interesting novelty. If you get a chance to look up the X-ray machine for X-raying your feet, you'll see. It's kind of interesting. But anyhow, back to the subject. And I don't know why it doesn't look like we got a chat. Anybody? I don't know. It doesn't seem to be letting anybody in. I don't know why. But I'll check one thing here. Yep. Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah. Oh well. Anyways, all right. And so that's all I really wanted to share with you guys. I wanted to tell you, just be very, very careful. You gotta be really careful with your money at these times, and there's nothing worse than losing your seed capital at a time when money's tight. And what do I got here? Looking for. Sorry, guys, I'm having a little issue with my computer. There we go, much better. All right, so I can't even take any questions. Doesn't look like the chat's looking. So hey, I'll ask you again. Please like and subscribe if you like the content. I'll share everything with you. I'm sorry the chat is not working right now, so I can't take any questions. But I do have some great stuff coming up. I'll give you a little. Here, I'll give you a couple teasers here. Let me see what I can show you. I think I showed you guys a little bit of the Red Room Murder House. And the new gym I just put in, this is cool. This just went in. People are very excited going into this place today. So that was very nice to see. Very proud of their school. And what else? Let's see what else I can show you. Yeah. Oh yeah, check this out. Here's one. You haven't seen this one. I'll give you a little inside look at more of this of the crazy house. Not all of it. I'll give you a little bit. I can almost choke on this.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
this
They'll give you a headache just walking in.
Yeah. So this is a walkthrough in a little place on the shelf. And you can see it's about as disgusting as a house can get. And look at those vents. But what do you know about the roof?
It was replaced sometime not too long ago.
Oh, good. So you got a decent roof. That's good. So I don't see any signs of leaks. Looks like they did something. Maybe they had a water issue, or do you know on that wall?
You can look outside. I'll show you outside there. There's something going on that wall.
So anyways, just a little tease there for you. I'm going to do a much more in-depth video on that, but I wanted to show you. That's the house I just closed today, and you can say it is totally filthy. But hey, get into real estate. Don't miss out. I don't care if you you buy my book. I'm telling you, you should do that. It's not for the $7 I'm going to make on the book. I don't care. But I just don't know what to tell you. Before I kick the bucket, I would just like to help as many men like myself and women. Got women in the class too. I would like to see you guys be able to have the fun and power that I have. The ability to write checks for college and cars and houses and buildings. It's a wonderful thing. And you can get there, and you just start with your first investment. But you got to get started. That's the key. So I'll leave it at that right now, and just say look forward to hearing from you, and be sure to take that mentorship survey. Listen, you ain't got nothing better to do. Take that mentorship survey, free. I'm not going to hound you. I'm not Chris Crone. I'm not Grant Cardone. I'm a real investor. I'm a real hands-on investor. You're not the money, okay? Money for me is what I do every day, and that's why I do such a shitty production here, is because I do this to help you. I don't have time. It's not worth it to me to put on makeup and have a studio and pay people to, do all this stuff and make the night. This is just real and raw, but it's real, and that's what matters, is that you can make the money. So take care. We'll see y'all later.